everybody, and welcome back to the Double Dash Motorsport Media YouTube channel. I hope you're doing well, and it's time for yet another Club 100 day in the Club 100 karts. They are coming thick and fast now, and we were kind of expecting this. Obviously we've got the compressed calendar due to the whole COVID-19 situation, but this is round 4 of the E60 Championship, and we're on our way down to Rye House, which of course is famous for being where Lewis Hamilton started out. We're on a bit of a recovery today. Obviously, if you saw the episode from Buckmore Park, we had not the best of days there. That one's put to bed now. That's all history. We move on to this next round. Last weekend was still quite fresh in terms of racing, because last weekend we did the PFI 6 hour. I'm not quite sure whether you'll have seen the vlog for that at this point yet. If you have, thank you for watching it. If you've not, Andrew, get on with editing it. So whilst the results sporting wise weren't particularly good, we didn't have a particularly strong day in terms of getting top 10s and stuff. The good results were that physically I felt a lot better. Now yes, PFI, very different circuit to Buckmore Park, and nowhere near as physical, and it wasn't a billion degrees, but we did 2 hours of racing on that day and everything felt fine, so my body getting a bit more conditioned to it. So fingers crossed today we're not going to have any physical issues. It is nowhere near as warm. It's actually quite cold, especially for this time of year. The weather has been abysmal. It did nothing but rain here in Warwickshire earlier, and looking at the maps and talking to other people around the country, it's pretty much the same nationwide. So it's not as hot, body's a bit more conditioned now, and we did have a good test session at Rye House earlier in the year when we started coming out of the whole COVID lockdown. So I'm quietly optimistic today. It's not my favourite circuit, I must be honest. It's one that's very hard to overtake around, and if you get out of a rhythm it can be a bit of a torrid time, but it's been kind to us the last couple of times. The last time we were there in a racing capacity was endurance last year in very wet conditions. That was a race that was the one race that the Barnstormers won last year. So let's get on down there. We're on our way to the M40 and crack on with round 4 of the Club 100 E60 Championship for 2020. Track walk time, quite an important one today for the main reason we've got a mixed track. So it's not, considering how much rain there was, you know, over the last couple of days, it's not too bad, but you've got some patches you can just about see there. So you've got a dry track on the racing line most places. The water drains quite quickly here, but off the track I should say, because it does form quite easily into puddles. So keeping it on the black stuff today is going to be really important. And then yeah, avoiding those puddles that are still on track. I mean, the ones that we can see, they'll dry up pretty quickly. But yeah, especially I think in qualifying, picking your line is going to be really, really crucial. And then, as I say, keeping it out of the quagmires that are on the other side of the circuit in the race itself, because if you end up in there, you are recovering, you are pushing the kart back out. It's cloudy at the moment. Forecast is for showers. I think they might hold off. So we should be in for a dry race. But like, especially down in here into hairpin 1, you know, when you've got that kind of semi-wet line on the racing line, you're probably gonna have to come inside. But I'm looking forward to this one. I'm feeling calm. I'm feeling much calmer than I normally am. I'm feeling more in control with this format now. We're going to give it a good go. I think the most important thing today is have fun with it. So we'll cut now into qualifying, if it is qualifying, if there's any qualifying footage worth showing, and see how we can do. We do indeed cut into the qualifying practice session. Remember, the first 20 minutes of the practice session is
free. You know, there's no timing being sorted as such for competitive positions on the grid. It's only that last 5 minutes that counts for positions at the start of the race. But as you can see, even the dry patches, those lighter grey areas of the circuit, very, very slippery on this Saturday morning at Rye House. So a tricky circuit, an evolving circuit as well to deal with some areas of the circuit. We've already seen stadium was a little bit tricky, but we're going to come up to Parliament Corner now, and there was a lot of water down here. This had been swept as well. The staff at Rye House had swept that first thing in the morning. So that was an area where you really, really had to be precise with your line through the last corner as well. You see a little puddle there forming up by the curb. A couple of laps went by. We got overtaken by some faster drivers, including Matt Morgan just ahead of us there. Nicky Richardson came past us as well. We're not going to show Nicky's footage, we never do, but this wide line through stadium was starting to work. You didn't want to go too wide. You saw Jimmy Broadbent there went a little bit a touch too wide, picked up a lot of water, which obviously compromised his tyres for the next couple of corners. Easily done, especially around the outside there. The track slopes away as you go into the dirt on the driver's left. But we were slowly starting to get to grips with the circuit. It was evolving as well. You see this line, quite dramatic line that we're taking there through Parliament Corner, because there were the openings of the tri line. And we were reasonably quick in the practice part of the session. We scored a time that put us in 15th when we checked the times back. But we are about to come up to the crucial point of this first 25-minute session, because just shortly before the start of the qualifying proper, this happened. Now, of course, we're using the GoPro Hero 8 now, and that hit didn't look that bad. It's just a bit of a glancing blow. Stabilisation on this Hero 8, very, very good. That hit was hard, really hard. Probably one of the worst ones I've had seen in a few years. It bent the steering column, and you can see me realising now I've backed off completely, because the kart only wanted to go left when I held the steering wheel in a straight line. So this was disaster, because this is not what you want just before the start of qualifying, and we have to pit in and we have to change the kart. We cannot race with a kart that wants to be an NASCAR, wants to be an oval kart. So we get ourselves sorted with another kart, but unfortunately, you always have this with the Rotax engines. You go out, and JV always says that the engine is a little bit fluffy, and he's right. It's not up to temperature, it's not up to power, and of course we've got cold tyres as well, and the track has continued to evolve here. So we've lost the vast majority of our qualifying time through that. It's just being in the wrong place at the wrong time, coming across the driver who had that spin out here. So on the out lap, we're trying to find, is the kart okay? We can't change it at this point. There's not enough time to warrant a kart change. We pull off circuit a little bit just to keep out of the driver's way who are on a fast lap. Matt Conroy going past there. We're going to see a couple more drivers coming through. Yeah, there they go. But this has been the penultimate lap of the session as well, so everyone's trying to get themselves in a spot on the circuit to do a final flying lap. This is our final flying lap, our only flying lap, and we've got the line into stadium completely wrong there. Way too much to the inside. We're starting to see a more normal racing line down into hairpin 1. Outbrake ourselves a little bit there. We're going to get overtaken. So this lap is going to put us absolutely nowhere. We're still trying to find out where the kart is. The kart's engine is still warming up as well. There's nothing really you can do at this point. There's no point getting frustrated about it. But you see there, look how much pylon had changed. A lot of that water that we were talking about earlier on, that's gone. We're almost back to a normal dry line now. Still slightly wide entry through the final corner. And okay, it was a tidy-ish lap, but it wasn't particularly quick. And across start finish there, checkered flag out. P30 out of 30. Yeah, we weren't particularly happy about that, but given that we'd had a kart change because we'd broken a kart, there was one gentleman who will not have been happy about that. And there he is. JV is not impressed. To the race then, starting from the back of the grid, and we weren't the only one towards the back of the grid that hasn't been here this season. You see Steve Moody there in the red suit and the red and black helmet. He won overall at Buckmore Park, so clearly showing how tricky that qualifying session was, almost a bit of a Brazil 2010 job. But we're going to go and see the green light. Away we go then for 1 hour around Rye House, and we find the magic of the outside line. Look how dry it is around the outside here. We get a stellar run through stadium, a lot of speed off of stadium as well. We've managed to gain 6 positions round the outside through stadium on lap 1. Clive Morford's gone for a deeper line around the outside through hairpin 1. That's got him ahead of Claudio La Rosa. We've thought, yep, let's go for this. Deep on the brakes, try not to overshoot too much. We get another move there, so that's 7 positions on lap 1. Very, very good start indeed. We're coming back to our usual Rye House qualifying position. Now down through Pylon Corner, catching up on the drivers ahead. So we were a bit buoyant after this first lap. That was a really, really good first lap. Across through the final corner. Coming onto the pit straight, we've got a bit of a gap there. It's a bit of a gap, but you're about to see the first of a set of moves very similar to one another, where we go deep around the outside, drivers trying to hold the inside line. It's too wet there and we cut underneath. That gets us another position there on Clive Morford. You're going to see that move attempted a lot. This was a bit of a dive bomb. I apologise for this one. This was us getting past John Buck. There was a gap slightly to the inside. We were a little bit too forceful there. Matt Wildman actually managed us to get through as well, so there's no net gain for us. Matt gains 2 positions, John just behind us, but we didn't get any penalties for that one. Start lap 5. As I say, you're going to see this move a lot. Matt goes to the inside, gets water on his tyres, we cut underneath. That's another position for us. We're up to P21 now, so we've made our way through almost a third of the field at this point. We're up behind Chris Lewis Evans now. This is towards the end of lap 6, and a lot of things to look out for in this next phase of play. We're going to try and make this same move again on Chris, but look out ahead for Alex Edwards and his yellow race lid. He's going to try and cut to the inside, and you're going to see him understeer. No fault of his own really, because it's just wet on the inside. He's going to get caught out there by Jimmy Broadbent. Jimmy Broadbent gets a penalty for that. We get the move done on Chris, so we gain 2 positions. But we'll see in a moment. There it is, number 42. Another one of our runners in the B class has got the penalty, but that's just a 6th place penalty to be posted end of the race. There's another move that we do on Kyle Plumridge this time, once again showing that the inside line is just not working for anybody. We're taking that outside line and it's working well for us. Matt Wildman at the inside. At this stage of the race, we were looking forward to a race with Jimmer. We were starting to catch him, but unfortunately, he misread the penalty. You hate to see that. Jimmer gives himself a drive-through penalty for no reason. It was just a 6th place at the end of the race. It's easy to do. I've seen a lot of people do that in the past. But for us, we gained another position. We're now sat behind Shane O'Neill. 8 laps down then, Naf Tafts, the duo of G3 Pro drivers, are leading. Jack O'Neill second, Matt Horgan third and leading in class. Aaron Saunders and Stuart Kirkles having really good races in B class. And we're in 17th, 24 seconds off the lead. Obviously we've had a lot of traffic to get through, so we're not going to be troubling the top 5 or so today like we did at the start of the Buckmore Park race, but we are making our way through the traffic. End of lap 12 then, on to lap 13. We've been behind Shane O'Neill for a few laps now, and you see again Shane cutting to the inside, hits the wet patch, opens the door, whoosh, through we go. Thank you very much. That's another position on the exit of stadium. Matt Wildman still ahead of us as well. We were trying to just follow Matt. We have decent, when we're on a good day, we have decent pace relative to Matt, so we were trying to follow his progress. And a few laps later here, we're getting towards the stage where the pit window's about to open, I think. But Matt's definitely being held up by a couple of the drivers ahead. But see here how Matt goes to the inside. Normally, in dry conditions, that's his corner, but you can hold around the outside with that drier line. But Matt does a great switchback here to get underneath into hairpin number 1. A very well orchestrated overtake. That's 14th place for him. Relegates Wolfie Returns, another one of the 2 driver efforts ahead of us now. And that's who we've got to try and get past next. So we're already a quarter of the way through the race. There's a spinner. Somebody's binned it, and that I think was a position for us. I forget who it was who we'd overtaken. But we spent a couple of laps up behind the back of Wolfie Returns, and we identify There's a little bit of gravitational effect at play, and we get a bit of a good run coming onto the pit straight. Slipstream into effect. Wolfie returns to the inside slightly. We think there's a gap there. We go for it. Whoops, a bit of contact. We don't want to see that. We let Wolfie returns back through. Next lap though, far more committed. Wolfie returns actually go defensive, compromise themselves, and there we go through another position on the exit of stadium. That's us up to P13. Well, Matt Wildman has pitted by this stage as well. Jimmy's penalty, I thought it was a little bit harsh, and this is why. Either the penalty for Jimmy was harsh, or I massively get away with one here. We're trying our classic move again, but just catch out that back marker, and yeah, send that back marker into a soggy place. Apologies for that. We did look over our shoulder to see was he still there to try and give the position back, but no, he wasn't. But we didn't get a penalty. It happens sometimes. I've done some observing myself. Sometimes you miss an incident if you're looking at another kart out there at your post. So I'm not going to put too much blame on particular individuals. But yeah, probably if I was on that observed post, I probably would have given myself a penalty at that stage. As I say, I don't know whether it was just missed or interpreted differently. But we move on from that one. Lap 36, we've gone a lap down. We've got the leader ahead of us now, which is Naf Tafs. And this is always kind of good if you're on a circuit that you're not quite sure where the conditions are. If the leader comes by, you can learn some things from them. But we have gone long again here on the strategy. We've got Shane O'Neill just up behind us. The track is starting to dry out, which didn't play into our hands. We'll come on too wide in a minute. You see Shane O'Neill managed to throw one down the inside there and hold it on the inside. You weren't able to do that, say, 20 laps ago. So that put us down to 11th. Matt Wildman, we mentioned he had some good lap times. Had some really good lap times, because that's him coming past, having made his pit stop. So he's made up about 10 seconds on us and got back through. This stage of the race, this is lap 42, you're starting to get traffic coming into play. And we've actually recaught Matt and Shane, even though we know that they are quicker at this stage of the race. So we use this as a kind of a trigger to think, right, we've got to get the pit stop done, the mandatory fuel stop. Matt trying to go for a move there on Shane. There's too much time being lost. Let's get in the pits. We're also kind of not racing Matt, because obviously he's off kilter for us in terms of strategy. So into the pits we come for the lube stop. There's Naf Tafs ahead of us doing likewise, albeit a lap ahead. And we re-emerge, interestingly, behind Jimmy Broadbent in 14th place. So I didn't know at the time that obviously he'd had the self-delivered drive-through penalty, but he hadn't stopped. So I thought I was in a race with him, and his pace was really, really good. He pulled away, and there was nothing really I could do about it. And we're about to find out why now, because I think this is when Carl Plumridge is going to come down on the inside. Yep. Yeah, we did not have much low end in this kart, and I think we could deal with it in the first part of the race when the outside line through stadium was better and the move on the inside wasn't really on. But yeah, when you're in this situation, and unless you defend to the inside, you're a bit of a sitting duck. This is the part of the race where it does really start to get away from us. Guy in the red suit and the black helmet here, he's going to go down the inside, 2 down the inside, hit that wet patch, spin out, and clonk. Ah, dear. Not the best driving there. We're going to lose another position there as a result to Clyde Morfitt. That's why JB says get on the brakes, folks, when you do spin out. And yeah, we're once again sitting down pit straight. Chris Williams goes past us, so we're now down to 16th place with about 25 minutes of the race to go. Once again down here into stadium. There's no real point defending too much at this stage of the race, of course, because you're just going to lose more time. You've kind of just got to get on with your own race. Now, this is an interesting point. We're going to come to our big moments of the race. You might have noticed through stadium there, we're still taking the very wide entry. And I've just put that as a reference point for what is about to happen. Clive Morfitt shuffled down a few spots there, so You know, we're still in the fight as such for positions. We know we've maybe not got the best of karts down the pit straight, but we're still fighting. But what we're about to have happen here is a very, very big moment, much talked about. And again, I'm just going to let the video talk for itself. So yeah, we spin down at stadium. Someone has pulled water onto the track. You can see loads of people struggling. And in a few moments' time, yeah, we get hit really, really hard by poor Alex Edwards, who gets caught out by the wet patch. I'm just going to talk kind of in slow-mo through my reaction to it. So if we look at it again, that splash there, that's my first indicator that something's wrong. And there is the wet patch. 2 seconds. 2 seconds is what I have to react. At this stage, I'm just thinking, keeping out the barriers. I've already seen Murray Knott and Clive Morford going very, very hard. I don't want to join them. I don't want to injure somebody by, you know, throwing it in myself. So I kind of sacrificed my position there, knowing that we were going off. Let's just try and limit the off in terms of its size. What the result was the full course yellow. I've never actually been in a full course yellow before, so this was my first ever one. Carl Plumridge, unfortunately, was the first guy in. His kart was ruined, his race was ruined, which was a real shame because he was having a very strong run up to that point. But we're sat here behind Stuart Kirk. Stuart's a lap ahead of us now, having a great run in the B class. I think he was on the podium in the B class at this stage. We are about to go back to green. Yep, there we go. And we start again for another 20 laps or so of racing. However, we have fallen another lap behind, so we're 2 laps off the lead now, and we're just going to try and get this one home in one relatively bent piece. The chassis was not feeling good. Tarek Alman comes down the inside there. We're not going to try and hold any of the leads up. It would just be a fruitless task at this stage. Through stadium though, Steve Moody had something happen there. We slipped by him for 20th position. There's somebody else in a bit of trouble. So it was still tricky conditions out there. Alex Edwards does a good move on us, and I've got to say, this is really galling at this stage because the car obviously in not prime condition because of the contact with Alex earlier. Yeah, Alex coming past us, I didn't feel good at that stage of the race. Not much happens in the latter stages, to be honest. Here we are on lap number 70. We're sitting in 20th place. We've got Steve Moody up behind us, who's been pushing us along for a while, but the pace just simply isn't in the kart. And I didn't actually know that that was the position. I thought, you know, it's Steve. He's got to be a lap ahead of me, not realising that he was having a bad day as well. So we slipped down there to 21st. But yeah, unfortunately, the pace wasn't in the kart at the end. The pace wasn't in me. I was a bit bruised and battered as well. And we were just trying to survive out there. We did defend though. There were some guys behind us that we were conscious of, and in the latter stages we did think, no, we've got to defend this. These points could be crucial towards the end of the season. So we had Clive Morford, I think Matt Conroy just behind us as well, other drivers on other laps. But yeah, an enjoyable racing way in some ways. You know, as I say, Rye's not always my favourite circuit. We had some decent pace, but we just again didn't quite have the luck fall our way. And frustratingly, you can see the drivers, the likes of Steve and Alex, just ahead of us. We weren't completely off the pace. We were just really, really struggling down the straights. But round the final corner, 21st position. I think he was about 7th in class. And across the finish line there to take the checkered flag and finish the race.
Back in the car then, heading out the circuit. Disappointing, really, really disappointing. The start, brilliant. We knew round the outside was going to be the way to go. Loads of people checked to the inside, and as I say, there was space around the outside. I think I gained about 5 or 6 positions just through that turn 1 move. So that was good. We kept making progress. We kept doing the outside line through stadium. That was working really well. And making our way up through the field, which I'll be honest, I wasn't really expecting starting from the back. I thought, yeah, you'll get up to about 25th and stop. So to get up to, I think I was 15th when the pit stops opened. We went for the long strap again. which I think got us another position when it all shaked out. But, you know, at one point we were 10th. We were really riding strong, and that's what makes the way that the race culminated in that last 15 minutes, 20 minutes really disappointing, because I mean it's part of racing round Rye that you get those circumstances with the water getting pulled on and then going in at stadium and having that incident. There wasn't too much I could really do about that. Hindsight, I would have braked earlier. And then obviously after the second hit, there's Alex came in, which we've had a chat about. I mean, it's one of those things. The car was dumb. The car, I mean, I had a look at the car with Nicky afterwards. There was at least one chassis tube bent, and the thing just couldn't handle. Which is a shame, because the track was dry by that point pretty much. So yeah, frustrating, because I think that the pace was there to get another class podium today. I mean, that was kind of typical of the day, to feel decent in tune with the track and then get caught up in someone else's incident mere minutes before the green flag, which then meant that we had to come in, have a kart change. That pretty much used up, because remember it's only 5 minutes at the end of the practice session for the qualifying. That used up all of that time. We got one lap in, we were last because the track conditions had changed as well. So yeah, but in a way I'm feeling better than the Buckmore race. The Buckmore race, we expected a result. Today we didn't expect a result. We move on to Lyd next. Lyd's been a good and a bad circuit for us over the years. We've had some very good times there. Obviously qualified for our first Sprint A final back in the day, back at that place. So it's a track that tends to suit me, but is a power track, so you're always a little bit at the mercy of the kart selection gods in terms of what you get. But I hope you've enjoyed the race, and we got the full race in. The battery strategy did the job, so I hope you enjoyed that. Shame it wasn't the result that we wanted, but we move on now. If you have enjoyed the video, do subscribe, click the like button and the notification bell, all the YouTube things, click them all, and we'll see you next time for another Club 100 vlog for what will be round 5. Will be Lyd, and then will be 2 of us, because Howard's doing that one as well. So that's all we got. Thank you very much for watching. Do take care, do have a good day, and we'll see you in a minute. Bye bye.